Philadelphia Phillies are 2008 World Champions of Baseball.
The Philadelphia Eagles are Super Bowl champions. Eagles fans everywhere, this is for you.
Now entering the game for Philly Pressbox Radio, Bill Furman and Jim Chet Chesko.
It's Wednesday, October 15th, 2025. We are coming off the worst week in Philly sports history, along with the worst single day. I hate to rehash it, but here we are. Last Thursday, the Phillies literally threw away Game 4 and were eliminated from the playoffs. The Flyers were losing their season opener in Florida, and the Eagles topped off the night by getting a beatdown from the New York Football Giants. That's not all. Penn State lost Saturday to Northwestern, costing James Franklin his job, and the Flyers lost again in overtime at Carolina. Woo! Look at that graph up there. Miserable. But on a good note, the Flyers turned it around, winning their home opener Monday night. Welcome to the Philly Pressbox Radio Roundtable, brought to you by the Irish Rover Station House in Langhorne, PA, Cavs, Philly Tailgates, and the STT Sports Network. I'm Bill Furman. I'll be your host tonight, along with my partner, Jim Chet Chesko. Chet, what a week it's been. There is plenty to talk about in Philly sports.
Yeah. See what happens when I leave the country, Bill? Bad things happen. Bad things happen. I put up that graphic, and that didn't even show the other thing that happened on October 4th. That was Penn State losing to UCLA as a huge favorite, which started this whole thing. So, yeah, it has been a rough 8 or 9 days for we Philadelphia sports fans and Penn State football fans. But as you said, better days are ahead, and we're going to talk about all the good stuff, too, going forward.
Yeah, well, there's a whole lot to talk about, good, bad, and indifferent. There's going to be roster shakeups. There's going to be, well, we got one coach vacancy. We got one coach rehired. There's all kinds of stuff going on, and we have a couple great guests tonight to help us sort through it all.
Yeah,
We do. Phil Stiefel, host of Trending in the AM, our STT Sports Network guy. Plus, first-time guest Matt Watson, the Phillies beat reporter for MetroPhilly, will be joining us.
We're looking forward to having Matt join us for the first time to help us figure out what happened with the Phillies postseason, way shorter than we had hoped, and what they're going to do going forward. But first, we're going to say happy first anniversary to us with the STT Sports Network and chat with Mr. Beard of Knowledge himself. So let's do that, Bill.
Let's get to it. Let's welcome the host of Trending in the AM, Phil Stiefel, back to Philly Press Box Radio. Phil, welcome, and what a week.
I've been taking notes during the whole intro of all the bad things you said and all the bad things I'm thinking. I don't even want to get into it. I do want to say one thing, Bill. You said it was the worst day ever. But in 1983, the same exact thing happened. The Phillies, the Eagles, and the Flyers all lost. So only happened 2 times in the history of sports, both times in Philadelphia. I mean, that's why we're the worst city in the world for sports, but we love it, right? We keep coming back for more.
Well, it only took 42 years to forget the last one, and now we got a fresh one.
It's brutal. It's been a brutal time. It's very hard. I'm a very positive guy. I try to keep the positivity with all Philly sports and in life in general, but it's really, really difficult right now with the state of the last week or so of Philly sports to be really on board and really positive right now.
Phil, first thing, as I noted, we have officially been working with you and STT Sports Network for 1 year this week. I'd say it's going pretty well for all of us. So thank you for your assistance on all of that. It's been a pleasure. But hey, let's get right to the Eagles. They are 4-2, but clearly not playing anywhere near as well as we expected. They're, down to the bottom of the 32 teams is a lot of the important rankings. Yeah, they're 4-2 at the top of the NFC East, but it's not that good. What do you see as the Eagles' biggest issue right now?
Real quick first, thank you very much for letting me help you guys with the STT Sports Network. It has been a year. And in 1 year, you guys have been around for 11 years now almost, right?
Yeah, 11 and a half.
1 year, I have my YouTube channel has already surpassed. As of today, I've passed you guys.
I noticed that.
It took me 1 year
by
to pass
one subscriber.
By one, but I did pass you by one today. I just want to throw that out there. I like to.
All right, Phil, thanks. It's been a pleasure. Thanks for joining us
let
tonight.
me hit that shot. See you.
No, look, the Philadelphia Eagles, it seems very bleak right now. You guys would agree, right? I mean, obviously the offense has not moved the ball at all. The offense has been atrocious. The defense is not living up to the Vic Fangio style and swagger that we're used to. But I keep, and again, like I just said, that it's a very positive person that I like to keep here. Is it as bad as it seems? We are 4-2. We had one of the most difficult schedules to start the season. We were 2-2 last year. This is nothing out of the norm for the Philadelphia Eagles right now. It does take time for these guys to get going. And also, just think about this. I mean, we're coming off a Super Bowl run here. We were late getting offensive coordinators. We were late getting our guys into their offseason workout and routines. You listened to Jordan Mailata talk last week about how it took him 2 months instead of 2 weeks to start not feeling the pain from the 2,000-yard season and the Super Bowl run. It's not as bad as people think right now with the Philadelphia Eagles. And honestly, you've got Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts at the top and Howie Roseman. And let me just tell you, I've got the utmost confidence in those three individuals to have these guys ready to turn it around and come January, be right where we want to be with a chance to get back and win another Super Bowl.
I got no arguments with any of that because I agree wholeheartedly with you. I think, they weren't going to win them all.
Yeah.
Right? So we know that. So they lose the first one and then, they come back on a short week, get hammered by the Giants. And the Giants won their Super Bowl. We're gonna beat the crap out of them next week when we see them. So, the biggest thing to me right now, Phil, is the injuries up front. Landon Dickerson has really not played well. Probably shouldn't have even started the season.
Nope.
So we got to get along with that. We got to get better there. And Tyler Steen is trying to get up to speed. Not playing terrible, but not as good as Mekhi Becton. So a lot of things. Dallas Goedert out again, like he's been on and off to start the season. It's a marathon, not a sprint. There's a long way to go here.
Yep. So, I mean, updates from today's practice. Landon Dickerson did practice limitedly along with Quinion Mitchell. So that's a good sign. Jalen Carter practiced in full, which is an even better sign. He said flat out after practice, I will play. You mentioned the Thursday night loss, their Super Bowl, the Giants. I forgot my notebook today, so I'm winging it here. I forget the exact number here, but it's something like 70% of the home teams win Thursday night football games because of how hard it is on that short week to get your team ready to play, especially with a team that's banged up like the Eagles. Landon Dickerson shouldn't have played to start the year, but you got to remember, Landon Dickerson and Cam Jurgens are coming off of season-ending surgeries after the Super Bowl. They toughed it out to even play in the Super Bowl to begin with last year. So those guys, you got to expect that. Jordan Mailata, obviously admitting how tired and exhausted he is. Lane Johnson has twice missed half of a game this year because of getting banged up. The offensive line is, I think Jordan Mailata said, everyone talks about running backs after big seasons, but no one ever talks about the wear and tear on the offensive line from those big seasons. This is just what we have to do. We just have to manage these guys as best we can throughout the season. That's all you got to do.
Phil, we got to put one comment up here that's very different from all the other ones. That is this one. Phil is such a nice young man. You want to
Is your mother on with Phil tonight? Miss Dorothy still appreciates you.
Yeah, thank you, Dorothy. Whoever you are, that's the first nice thing anybody said about me all day today. So
yeah, you're okay. Hey, another nice young man is the guy I'm going to put up here in just a second. It's a guy by the name of Ray Didinger. Here's what he had to say on WIP the other day about the Eagles' struggles.
What does this team do well? Right now, they don't do anything well. I mean, the only thing that you can say they do well is they have a really good punter, and they have a place kicker who hasn't missed a field goal attempt. Other than that, this team isn't doing a single blessed thing well. That's the scary part.
Boy, Ray really hard on the Birds.
Yeah, I said the exact same. I haven't heard that till just now, but I said the exact same thing on Monday on the morning show. I'm like, the only people that are doing their job, Brady Mann and Jake Elliott, and that's about it. But you can rely on the fact that this team has turned it around in the past. So despite how bad it's been, there's a proven track record of winning over the last 4 years in this city. So you've got to have faith that track record wins out in the end.
By the way, Saquon Barkley last year, 5.8 yards per carry. This year, 3.4 yards per carry. Yikes.
I mean, that's on the offensive line. Look up this. I forgot my notebook, so I'm going Mr. No Notes today style. But the yards per carry he gets before contact.
Right.
It's something like last year it was like 2.8 or 3. This year it's like 0.8 yards before he takes that first piece of contact. And that's a big deal for a running back. And that's, he's going to become more worn out this year, not rushing for 2,000 yards because of the hits he's taking, the lack of protection he's getting from the offensive line than he was last year running for 2,000 yards.
Yeah. Well, I think if I remember correctly, it was when we posted this last week, they're 26th in the league in yards before contact.
Mm-hmm.
A clear indication they're not getting it done up front. Well, with that said, though, I think they have to come up with their balance. Mm-hmm. Barkley carrying 6 times, 11 times, 12 times, whatever. That's not good enough. Where you're throwing the ball over the place. They've got to be able to come up with a balance where the defense isn't dictating to them what they need to do. The Eagles need to be dictating to the defense what they're going to do.
Absolutely. I forget who it was. Someone was talking on one of the radio stations about how, the offense always should dictate because they actually get off the ball quicker than the defense. The snap, they know when it's coming, whatnot. So I'm concerned about the Eagles' defense, about their lack of physicality and stuff like that. But I am more concerned with the offense than I am the defense, despite the fact that the offense is the most expensive offense in all of football. Like, everybody just seems not on the same page. There seems to be some kind of disjointedness, amongst all the offensive players. But I think it comes down to what's the most important thing in football? Winning in the trenches, offensively and defensively on the line. When the Eagles' offensive line is not performing, it makes it harder for Saquon to run. Saquon not running makes it harder for AJ and Devontae to get open. You got Jalen Hurts probably having his worst year of his career through 6 games this year. I mean, he's missed 2 targets or 2 big passes every single game this year, which, against popular belief, he's actually a very good thrower of the football deep downfield. So, everything is going wrong. The media is stirring the pot with A.J. Brown constantly. It concerns me that they got to get it right. And you have an inexperienced guy like Kevin Patullo. I don't know if you listened to his press conference yesterday, but he has surpassed, Nick Sirianni in the word salad world of just throwing words out there that mean nothing. And it's very hard. I mean, you've all worked, for careers. You're all, luckily retired, unlike me. Have you ever had a boss that is not like you can't, when you don't believe what your boss says? And that's what I worry about with Kevin Patullo, that these offensive players don't believe what he is saying in the meetings, on the sideline and whatnot. And I know everybody wants to move on from him. I don't know if you can or not really.
No.
But it's a big problem. It's a real big problem. And I hope they get it right this week against, let's say, a very good Minnesota Vikings football team.
Phil, I heard part of your show yesterday, the morning show, and it sounded like you were pushing for a CJ return.
Yeah, look, when he got released by the Texans earlier this year, I was not pushing for a CJ. But now that I've seen everything, 6 weeks of what this team severely lacks his swagger, his energy, his physicality-ness. He's a boom-bust type player, but at least he leaves it all on the field. You look at the Adoree Jackson missed tackle of Cam Scatterboo on the goal line on Thursday night. He doesn't love to hit hard or to tackle, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, but when there's a big play and a big moment like that to be made, he's going to throw it out there, right? And he's going to put his body on the line. So this team lacks. And everybody wants to say, oh, he's a bad egg. He's a locker room cancer, pointing out whoever he next plays for will be his 7th team in 5 years. And I get all that. But he's had his best success in his career when he's been here in Philadelphia. And Philadelphia has had their best success when he's on their team. So, you know what? It seems so obvious to bring him back. Will they? I don't know. But, I would bring him back in a heartbeat just to shake things up at the very least.
Well, Phil, back on the offensive side, I think the other thing that's missing here is the number one weapon, and that's Jalen Hurts running the football. Mm-hmm. And I get it. We're only a third into the season. It is a long way to go. Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, all these quarterbacks are out. They're hurt. But we know when Jalen runs the football, a lot of things break in that offense. And right now, I'm not sure they're not pulling the reins back on him a bit.
Yeah, it's funny. You hear Kevin Petullo talk about how he wants them to run the ball more and how, the RPOs, they're just passing the ball in the RPOs and read options, more than he'd like. Last year, Jalen Hurts was banged up most of the year, and same thing with 2023. And they ran the ball despite him being banged up and hurt. This year, he seems to be 100% healthy, and they're not running the ball. So what is it? Is it Kevin Petullo just, throwing these words out there? Or is there something else? Is there a communication issue between Nick Sirianni, Kevin Petullo, and Jalen Hurts on what they want to accomplish on the field? I don't know where to put the blame on the lack of running from Jalen Hurts, but you're right, Bill. I mean, when he is running the ball, the quarterback draw, not just the options and whatnot, just the straight quarterback draw. We've seen that, 3 times all year this year? It's a very effective play. But on the flip side, again, to run those plays, the offensive line's got to be blocking. Saquon Barkley, we talked about a few minutes ago, getting hit nonstop. Do you want Jalen Hurts taking the hits that Saquon Barkley's taking?
No.
And
that's why I'm not sure the Eagles are playing the long game here.
They very well
could break it. They could break it out after the bye week, and if they're sitting at 7-2, 6-3, come the bye week, that's good. They've stacked a bunch of wins, and they'll be strong down the backstretch. I think that's more what I see at this point.
Yeah, I mean, I had the Eagles at 4-2 at this point. I had them going 3-2 out of the gate, and then winning the next 2 this last week against the Giants and this week against the Vikings. That was my original, prediction. So they're right on par with where I think. And you mentioned the bye week. Something really interesting came from practice last year. After the bye week, we were 2-2. We were struggling, right? After the bye last year, they decided to switch it up and go back to full pads for practice. Nakobe Dean, after practice today, said, "You know what? We decided as a team to go back to pads to bring the physicality back and to get the energy back on this team, offensively and defensively speaking." And maybe that'll translate. Maybe it will.
Well, we mentioned the O-line problems. There are concerns about the D-line, too, with Zadarius Smith suddenly retiring Monday, Nolan Smith still out injured, and Jalix Hunt, frankly, has been underperforming compared to his rookie year. So they are really light at edge rusher right now. Is that something Howie needs to address, really soon?
He needed to address it before Zadarius Smith retired. Yeah. Now it's Zadarius Smith. Absolutely. Look, it's funny. I was prepping for tomorrow's morning show, and I wrote down notes on Jalix Hunt. So even though I don't have a notebook, I got a piece of scratch paper with Jalix Hunt notes, and I warned people not to expect. Everyone's predicted 10 sacks, 12 sacks for him this year. I'm like, this guy was a 3-year project, at least, when we drafted him, a couple years back. It's only his second year. He's obviously struggling right now, and we're expecting too much of him. But now, because of the injuries and because of the retirements, even more is going to be placed. The problem is addressing it for Howie, the edge position. There's about 8-9 teams because of the parity in the NFL that want an elite edge rusher right now. So the price to get a Trey Hendrickson, a Chubb, a Phillips, all these guys, Jermaine Johnson, it's gone through the roof. You've got 8 draft picks left now because we wasted 2 on Tank Bigsby in next year's draft. Are you really willing to risk them when you're going to have to draft Lane Johnson's replacement, Dallas Goedert's replacement, amongst other things next year's draft? Are you really dropping 2 top-end high draft picks for Trey Hendrickson for just the rest of this year because he's a free agent at the end of the year?
Yeah, you'd have to lock him up. Yeah, there's no way you trade for him if you can't lock him
up. You might have some money left over next year because Jalen Carter's kind of played himself out of that, $40 million a year contract that everybody was expecting, with his issues this year, injuries and, whatnot. So you might have the money to maybe lock up Trey Hendrickson, but, it's a big risk reward there, making one of those big swings. The other question is, if you go out and trade, say, a 2nd-round pick and a 4th-round pick for Trey Hendrickson, are you going to win the Super Bowl? Is Trey Hendrickson enough to win you the Super Bowl this year based off of what you've seen so far? And that's a question still to be determined.
Yeah, well, it's all about health. I will say they got better this week on the defensive line, though, with Carter being back. That changes the whole blocking scheme when he's in there because 2 guys are going to block him. So, and I think I might disagree with you just a little bit. He might not be in the $40 million range. He's going to get paid.
Oh,
hopefully he's going to get paid by the Eagles.
Yeah. Oh, he absolutely will get paid by the Eagles. Talking about Jalen Carter, I don't know if you guys caught it. I literally caught it about 15 minutes ago. Brian Baldinger was talking on Ike Reese today on WIP about Jalen Carter and not just about his immaturity in game 1 against the Cowboys, about him being out of shape, about him being injured. The fact that I commented on it so much last year on my shows that Jalen Carter was playing 100% of snaps last year. And you're seeing that toll it took on his body. Fletcher Cox, when he was at his peak with the Eagles, in his prime, and dominating the NFL on the defensive line, was only playing 65% of the snaps. The years he had up that number were his worst years. So you're seeing just like the offensive line's worn out, you're seeing the wear and tear on Jalen Carter this year because of the numbers of plays he played last year and at times this year.
Phil, going to be an interesting game Sunday. Eagles-Vikings, going to be an interesting rest of the season. But I got to ask you one other thing, totally unrelated. I saw you tweeting that little Joel Embiid video the other day. They're pulling you back in. They're going to bring the black uniforms back on occasion. Hip-hop is going to be back. Are you back in on the Sixers, Phil?
In the words of a certain gangster, once I think I'm out, they pull me back in. I just dropped the $5 on the Sixers. I saw 35-1 Sixers to win the NBA Finals. I'm like, you know what? Let's do it. 100-1 Joel Embiid to win MVP. Take my money. Lock it up. They're suckering me back in, hook, line, and sinker, just like that. He might even play in a preseason game.
Not a chance.
There is a chance. They're talking about
it. They're teasing it. They should, but they're teasing it.
Yeah. Hey, Phil, I do have to say one thing back to our bad week and bad day we talked about earlier. I'm going to confess, Game 3 of the Flyers season, the home opener, I'm on the edge of my seat saying, Philly, please don't lose. Philly, please don't lose. Win this game. We need a win bad, and it's the third game of the season.
I'll take credit. It's the first Flyers game I've watched in like a year and a half, and they won it. So you know what? I'll take the credit for that because I was sitting on my couch watching that game from about 10, 12 minutes into the game. I watched the rest of that. So it was good to see. The Flyers are an exciting young team. They got a lot of promise this year.
Phil, we got a minute left. I'm going to have you tell everybody about the STT network, and feel free to tout us if you want. But also, I got you a Jacko pumpkin beer. Okay. I know you're a fan.
Make me throw up right now. Guys, the STT Sports Network setting the trends for what sports talk should be in Philadelphia. No rage bait, no clickbait, just honest discussions. Every comment gets addressed. Even the most inappropriate ones get addressed on my show. We're just trying to set the trends for what sports talk should be because everybody complains about what's on the radio. Well, you know what? We do things different. We don't drop. I don't know if you saw it. Skip Payless, his nasty comment earlier this week. We don't drop those kind of comments. Howard Eskin saying bench Jalen Hurts for Tanner McKee. Clicks. You know what? No, that's not what we do. We have discussions every day, live, 8 a.m., 90 minutes. Plus, I'm doing more night shows, and I'm live streaming during all Eagles games now as well on the channel so that you can hang out with me and drink beer and overreact to every minute detail of an Eagles game. So you got to check it out. And yes, like I said, I have passed you guys in subscribers in 1 year.
And Bill, I got to say, he even has Wilford Brimley tweeting from the dead, in the chat room there.
He's just making sure everybody's checking their diabetes,
And now, Phil, tell everybody where they can listen to your show.
All you got to do is go on YouTube in the search bar, type in STT Sports Network or Trending in the AM, and it'll pop right up. The logo's on the bottom of the screen there. It's the Liberty Bell with the blue background. It's very easy to find. Just type that into the search bar. You'll find it. Dude, let's get to 800. My goal is to get to hit 800 this week. Only got to get
when you're on the STT. And when you're on the STT Sports Network YouTube channel, you can also find Philly Pressbox Radio.
Oh, really? Not if you keep drinking pumpkin beer.
Well, we can see one of us there anyway, Phil.
All right, wrap it up. Get rid of this guy, Bill. Send him on
All
his
right.
way.
Well, Phil, hey, as always, we appreciate you taking the time, and let's do it again. Go Birds.
Absolutely. Everybody have a great one. Bubbles up.
See you, Phil.
Thanks, Phil. Hey, Chet, we mentioned, before we get to that, tell us what's going on over at the Irish Rover Station House.
The Irish Rover Station House, Bill, I'm glad you asked. You know, I love that place. I go there whenever I can because they have great dinner specials all the time. They have 24 beers on tap all the time, and they got a lot going on these days. Oh, yeah, trivia every Wednesday night, Killer Burger Thursdays. As I said, dinner specials Thursday through Sunday. They have live music back on the weekends, and something special this Friday night, a rare Friday night band appearance at the Rover. The Grateful Dead tribute band Bear's Choice will be at the Rover with an early 7 p.m. start. And then on Sunday, while the Eagles battle the Vikings on the Rover's many TVs, you can get yourself a free Bud Light Eagles pint glass when you buy a Bud Light, and they'll be on sale for $3 during the Eagles game this Sunday starting at 1 o'clock. Check this place out, the Irish Rover Station House. It's on Bellevue Avenue in beautiful Langhorne, Pennsylvania, and you can find them on the web at irishroverstationhouse.com.
It's me, Jackie Bam Bam from 93.3 WMMR, Philly Pressbox Radio. Chet, Phil, what are you doing? It's me, Jackie Bam Bam. Hey, Chet, Phil, I love you. All the best. Bye.
Hey, Chet, a comment came up here, and I hope I'm going to get this right. Nooms for 9. Ask if Howard really is saying that. And yes, Howard did say that.
He did.
He said Tanner McKee was the better option than Jalen Hurts right now. I don't know what Howard had in his drinking glass, maybe some pumpkin beer or something.
I don't know.
Hey, Chet, staying on the football, Penn State football, wow. What a 2-week period. They went from losing to Oregon by a point, maybe by a blade of grass. They go to UCLA, get beat up. They lose at home to Northwestern, and we have a new football coach in Happy Valley after 11 and a half years, I believe it was.
Yeah, 11 and a half years. Franklin out of there, something that most fans did want. They had a lot of people throwing money their way to say, get him out of here. We will help you pay the buyout. So he's gone, James Franklin. And now they're talking about Matt Rule as a possibility. The guy who's at Indiana currently, a possibility. We'll see. What do you think? Would they bring Matt Rule back to Happy Valley?
Well, I'll back up. I think this is not right to have fired him in the middle of the season. I mean, the guy's been here 11, 12 years. He earned the right to finish the season in my mind. They had a bad game? Yeah. Yes. I believe he should have had a chance to right the ship. They're not going to win any more games without him than they were going to win with him. It's not like he's a 2-year guy, 3-year guy, or a Rob Thompson guy. But 11 years, I think he deserved the right to get there. As far as his replacement, 3
now. I'll let you finish about the prospects.
Well, the other thing, they were one play from playing for a national championship in just February. This year, that all went away too. And I think what was it I saw? 34-8 over the last 3 years. Call me in 3 years after the new guy gets here. Let's see if he's 34-8. It ain't always greener on the other side.
Yeah, okay, but you can't be losing to UCLA after losing your first game of the season. UCLA was 0-4, and then you have a big game this past week at Happy Valley. You lose that one. I'm okay with them getting rid of him now. They're not going to be in the semifinals, and righting the ship would be, 7-5? Because they're not going to beat Ohio State. They're not going to beat Indiana. I don't care who's coaching. So I'm okay.
Well, right. They're not going to be 7. They're going to be 7-5 with Franklin or 7-5
if they're lucky, and that would be at best.
Yeah. And I'm going to say one more thing. I'm going to go out on a ledge here, Chet, because I'm not a Penn State graduate like you are. But one of the main things I've ever heard from every person that ever went to Penn State is success with honor. Everybody, that's the buzz phrase. Everybody uses it. Well, as we've entered this new coaching situation and NIL and all this, I will call it success. The honor is gone. This is just going to be, we're going to do whatever we can to win football games with whoever it takes to get it done. And the success with honors history, my friend.
Our buddy Kid Camden is licking his chops at the thought of Penn State going out to the Horseshoe, and he's probably right.
Well, he might be, but you never know. That's why they play the games. All right. We had enough of that.
Yes, we have.
All right. Well, hey, we have a great new guest get ready to help us sort through what happened and where the Phillies are going. Ryan Kirkland's certainly taken the heat for what happened, but there were a lot of other problems, Chet. They only had 4 hits in 11 innings. So let's welcome MetroPhilly Phillies beat writer Matt Watson to his first visit to Philly Pressbox Radio. Matt, welcome.
Hey, thanks for having me on.
Matt, great to see you. I met you, of course, at the PSWA meeting a few months back and checked out some of your stuff. Seems like you know what you're talking about, so you can help us because we don't always know what we're talking about, but we're still trying to figure it out 11 and a half years in. Hey, before we talk about what might happen with this offseason regarding the Phillies, let's review what happened last week. The Phil's starting pitching was very, very good against the Dodgers, but the offense, other than Game 3, was subpar yet again. And if I can find it here, I'm going to put up a graphic of what the big three, the guys at the top of the order, did at the very top of that lineup. And it was not pretty in the 3 losses. And yeah, there it is. 1 for 12, 1 for 12, 1 for 11. Clearly not good. I know hitting a baseball isn't the easiest thing in the world, but these guys are pretty talented. They're paid well. Why does this seem to happen every October with this team?
It's so difficult to understand why the Phillies bats seemingly go cold in October every year, especially because back in 2022, they were an offensive juggernaut in that playoff run, getting to the World Series. But unfortunately, it feels like over time, the Phillies lineup has gotten more reliant on the top 3 guys. They have become very top heavy. And when that happens and they're not hitting well, you see the offense flutter out. I think that Kyle Schwarber was the heartbeat of the Phillies offense this year. And you could see in the postseason, in the game that he had 2 home runs, they won. And then the other games, he did not perform. And because of that, the rest of the team didn't follow suit. I think this was a down year for Bryce Harper overall. It just wasn't the same kind of offensive production we typically see out of him. I know he did miss some time once again with injury, but that's starting to become a yearly occurrence for him. And it just feels as though Bryce never did rise to the occasion. He had plenty of opportunities in those 4 games to really make a statement, and he was just unable to come through at any moment, really. At least Turner and Schwarber did have playoff moments. It felt like Bryce just couldn't find his. And then with Trey Turner, I think he was the best out of that group of 3 overall in the series, but not much better. He's a guy, obviously, he was coming off the hamstring injury. He missed the last few weeks of the season. So of the 3, if you were going to say of any of them who was probably going to struggle, it was going to be Trey because he was out of game action for quite a bit. So it's just unfortunate that they weren't able to rise to the occasion. I think the middle tier guys, JT Realmuto, Alec Boehm, I think they stepped up in this series. It's something they did not do last year against the Mets. Nick Castellanos had a couple clutch doubles in the series as well. So they did their job, but the top 3 guys did not. And that's why they're sitting at home watching.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Matt, I think we know changes are coming. We're not sure what's coming. I saw an interview the other day, and it said that Castellanos probably would not be back. Good chance of trading Alec Boehm. Brandon Marsh could possibly be back. We're going to bring in Justin Crawford with 0 big league at bats, and Andrew Painter, who hasn't thrown a pitch. Getting rid of those guys, to me, doesn't make you better. What are you going to replace them with unless you go out and make a big hit in the free agent market, and you still have the same big 3 that aren't getting it done?
Yeah, everybody has a lot of ideas of what the Phillies could do this offseason, and a lot of them typically start with getting rid of guys that are on the team. But I think people forget this is a 96-win baseball team. Yep. They were the second best team in Major League Baseball this year. They won the National League East, 2 years in a row. They've made the playoffs 4 years in a row. This is a very good team, and I understand the frustration of them not pulling through in the playoffs. But I don't think anybody's pulling through in the playoffs right now against the Dodgers. They've won all 6 of their games so far. They are a tremendous team. It happens. And I don't think you can necessarily measure success based on one series in the postseason. So, yeah, it's popular to want to get rid of some guys, but you're right. The upgrades that are out there aren't that much better. There's reasons why these players are hitting the free agent market and are not under long-term contracts. A few guys are ready for their big payday. Other guys are looking for their final payday. So, sure, you can mix some guys in and out, but it doesn't guarantee you're going to be much better. And honestly, the guys that are out there in the free agent market are older. So injuries are a little bit more of a risk. You don't know how well they're going to fit in with this clubhouse. And because of that, there's a lot of unknown variables. So I think the guys that you have on the team, they need to step up, obviously. And yes, they need to make some changes. But overall, I think the majority of the same team is going to be coming back in 2026, whether fans like it or not.
Well, by the way, the Athletics' Jason Stark was on 97.5 yesterday, and he was asked what he expected the Phillies to do over the next few months, and he's pretty sure there will be several moves made.
I think it's possible there are some changes coming in the coaching staff. That'll be very interesting. I can't see Nick Castellanos returning. I think they'll make a big effort to trade Alec Boehm a year out from free agency. Does it get Bigger than that, it might. Dave knows he can't bring this group back intact. And so he will be bold, and that could mean anything.
Okay, so Matt, I have the list of some of the Phillies free agents right here and what the spot track market values are, according to them, for these free agents. Ranger Suarez, 6 years, $160 million. He's pretty much gone. We know that. But man, if you can get Kyle Schwarber for under $100 million for 4 years, I would do that in a heartbeat. Bring JT back for 2 years, pretty much, 26 to 30 million. We'll take that. What do you think of these numbers, and who from that list do you think will be back with the Phillies?
Yeah, I think a few of these are pretty spot on. I think the Ranger Suarez one is pretty valid for what I expect him to make this season. And yeah, I think he has made his last outing with the Philadelphia Phillies. I think that number for Schwarber is definitely on the lower end of things. He has to clear the $100 million mark, in my opinion, after the season he just had. I think the Real Muto one's fair. I do think Bader will probably make closer to 30 to 40 million than 20 based on his performance, especially with the Phillies this year. And I think the marks for Kepler, Robertson are a little high, and Romano seems just about right. If he even gets a major league guaranteed contract, he might be a guy who gets offered a minor league option with a camp invite for a chance to earn a spot on the roster.
So do you think Schwarber and Real Muto are most likely to be back on that list, from that list?
I would say so. It feels as though they're going to do whatever it takes to bring back Kyle Schwarber. And I think that JT Realmuto, I don't really expect there to be a large market on him. He's getting up there in age. I think he understands at this point in his career. He wants familiarity and I think he wants to finish things out with the Phillies. So I would expect there to be a team friendlier deal that Realmuto signs. Maybe it takes an extra year to get it done. So maybe 3 years for Realmuto. He's currently making, I believe, $23 million a season. So that's definitely going to come down. So in a way, they're going to probably bring back their same catcher at a discounted rate, which is beneficial to them to use that money to go out and spend it on other guys. So I think those two guys will be back. I think Realmuto is the safest bet only because he is a little bit cheaper, and they really do not have any other options for catcher. You can make up, the Kyle Schwarber at bats at DH or maybe in the outfield, but it'd be hard pressed to see how you're going to replace JT Realmuto.
Well, the numbers you put up there, Chet, for Kyle Schwarber are a lot lower than what I've been hearing. I've been hearing he wants 5 years at 150.
Saw that yesterday. Yes.
That's $30 million a year for 5. He's 33, becomes 38. Man,
and he's a DH. So yeah,
I get it. I get it that you can't let him walk, but I also get you don't want a 38-year-old guy with a $30 million anchor around his neck that can't play.
I agree. That's his asking rate allegedly, but he's not going to get $30 million a year for 5 years, in my view.
Yeah, I can't see that happening unless a team goes out there and really jumps the shark and misreads the market. Maybe if anybody's going to pay that, it might be the Texas Rangers, who have had rumored interest in Schwarber. They're a team that's missed the playoffs the last couple years after winning the World Series, and they have deep pockets. So if there was going to be a team that did it, I think Texas might be that option. But I can't see Schwarber getting anywhere close to $150 million.
Cincinnati supposedly is all in, right? They're pushing everything in supposedly for him.
Yeah, I just don't think Cincinnati has the money to go out there and compete with the Texas, with the Phillies. I would not be shocked if the Yankees got into the Kyle Schwarber market. So there's going to be some big players in for Kyle.
Well, Matt, Bill mentioned some of these guys, the Phil's young prospects. A lot of people want to see them called up right away, as Bill alluded to. To your knowledge, what is the MLB readiness of these top prospects? Justin Crawford, Aiden Miller, and Andrew Painter. The latter of two had kind of mediocre years in AAA, to be honest. Which of any of these guys, might be on the 2026 roster?
So assuming Dave Dombrowski does not go out and trade these prospects this offseason in a big splash deal, I think Justin Crawford is probably your starting left fielder come opening day of 2026. I think he was ready to go this season in the minor leagues, but I felt as though the Phillies wanted to go with a more veteran presence for the postseason. Crawford hit well over 300 in his time with AAA. He was swiping a lot of bases. I think he's ready to go. I know he projects more as a left fielder in the big leagues than a center fielder, but overall, I think he has a spot come opening day. And I think the only reason that he didn't come up was for that veteran presence in the postseason, and he did suffer concussion late in the year that kind of knocked him out. Maybe you could have seen him get called up for the postseason as an extra guy, as a base runner, or maybe in the role that they envisioned Johan Rojas having before he got hurt. But I do think Crawford's ready to go. I also think Andrew Painter's ready to go. Command is the last thing that comes back after Tommy John surgery, and the command was what Andrew Painter was struggling with this year in the minor leagues. His velocity was back. I think his movement was pretty sharp, but his command just wasn't there. And because of that, he allowed more home runs than he's ever allowed. He was allowing, he was allowing teams to hit him a little harder than he's ever been hit in his professional career. I just think it was just time. And I think the Phillies played it right by not calling him up too early, allowing him to fail, for lack of a better word, in the minor leagues. And I think this is the first normal offseason Painter's going to have in quite some time because of the surgery and the rehab. He pitched in the fall league last winter. So this is finally going to be a time for him to rest and head into spring training after his offseason program with a chance to win a spot. So I think Andrew Painter will also be on the Phillies come opening day. And then I think Aiden Miller is about a year away, if I had to guess, from coming up to the big leagues. He just got up to AAA towards the end of this past season. When Miller has been called up to the different levels, he struggled initially, but then once he's getting his timing down, once he gets familiar with the pitching a little bit more, he catches fire. So I expect him to start the year out in AAA, and I would imagine he's there for most of the season. If he's hitting well, I don't think the Phillies would hesitate to call him up, but I just don't think he's in their immediate plans for 2026.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Chet, you mentioned in your earlier chart up there about Ranger Suarez, and that's a lot of money. But are you willing to just walk away from that deal? Zach Wheeler, maybe Matt more than I do, whether he's going to be back and be able to be 100%. He's already mentioned retirement in 27. So if you only have one more year of Wheeler, do you let a guy like Suarez go away? Because now I'll go with Suarez was in the ace category. He was in the top of the rotation. If you lose Wheeler and Suarez, are you okay?
The starting rotation is definitely the Phillies' strength, and we saw that in the postseason. Sanchez was phenomenal. Jesus Luzardo was phenomenal. And Aaron Nola, I know he had a really, really rough year, and this was definitely the worst year of his career. But I think Aaron Nola was getting back to what he was. I just think this was a lost season for him. So you have those three guys you're going to pencil in regardless. Taijuan Walker is still under contract for next year. He is an option. And again, Andrew Painter would be an option as well. I think Zach Wheeler is going to be back earlier than maybe people expected. I think maybe late May, early June for him to return to the Phillies. They're definitely going to play it carefully. It's obviously a very serious, injury that he suffered. So they're not going to rush him by any means. But I think knowing Zach Wheeler and the competitor that he is, he's not going to go out without taking the mound at least one more time, in my opinion. So I think he's going to do everything he can to get back and ready to go for this upcoming season. He might delay his start a little bit, but overall, I think Wheeler's going to factor in for 2026 and 2027, assuming he stays healthy. So I think this is an area, while Ranger Suarez is a great pitcher, this is an area of strength for the Phillies. You have to, spread your money around a little bit. You already have Wheeler, Nola, and Sanchez under contract for a while. Obviously Painter's under a team-friendly deal for the next 6 years, assuming he makes his debut. So I just think, unfortunately, Ranger Suarez is just the odd man out at this point for the Phillies.
Well, Matt, it's going to depend, of course, on who they do bring back from that free agent list. But some of the other big names that are out there, Pete Alonso, Alex Bregman, Kyle Tucker, as you mentioned, some of them are getting up there in years. Any of those guys you think the Phillies might be especially interested in?
I think if they don't bring back Kyle Schwarber, I think Cody Bellinger would be a really great option for this team. He could play center field. You could put him in the corner outfield spots. You could always slide him in at first base in a pinch, but I think he's more of an outfielder at this point. He doesn't strike out a lot as well. He's got great power, and I think he could slide into any spot at the lineup. Now, I know the Phillies desperately need a right-handed hitter. Schwarber being a lefty, Harper being lefty, I think hurt their lineup construction a little bit because they just did not have that big right-handed power bat that a lot of great teams would have to balance out that lineup. And obviously, Bellinger's a lefty. So if he replaces Schwarber, the 1-for-1 lefty swap, not a big deal. But if they're adding, in a sense, Schwarber and Bellinger, well, now you're kind of loading up on the lefties again. So, but I just think that Bellinger offers a little bit more than an Alonso, who would probably have to DH for the Phillies. I think you keep Bryce Harper at first base if you have the both of them. I realistically do not see Harper sliding to the outfield to allow Alonso to play first. I know he said that he would do it. I just think he was trying to be a team player in that aspect. I just don't see the Phillies moving him out there because he's already banged up enough as it is. And I just think first base allows him to not go as hard as Bryce Harper typically does. Because I think we all know if he goes back to the outfield, he's got to be making diving plays, probably run into the wall a couple times. He's going to put his body on the line, and I just think the Phillies don't want to risk that.
Matt, on Ruben Amaro on his radio show the other day, he talked about the possibility of Dave Dombrowski swinging for the fences and moving one of the big three if the right situation came. You see that happening?
I really don't. I mean, I don't. You're certainly not getting rid of Harper, and you're certainly not getting rid of Trey Turner. So I know there's talk maybe Aaron Nola gets moved, but I mean, you're trading Nola at his lowest if you do move on from him. Right. And I think he's just better than what you're going to get in return, especially because he's coming off the bad season and he has the contract. So teams aren't going to want to give you anything, in my opinion, for him of any significant value. And I would bet on his bounce back more than, this being who Aaron Nola is at this point. I just don't realistically see how they can move off some of these big deals. Teams aren't really open to taking contracts like they used to be, and the Phillies would have to eat some of the money to move on from a player. And I don't think it makes sense to retain salary just to move off of a guy. I think this is a talented group, and while yes, they need to switch things up and they need to make upgrades, I just don't see how any of those big pieces are moved. And I think they're probably going to be part of the Phillies lineup and rotation moving forward.
Matt, last Phillies question from me. I'm surprised Bill hasn't brought this up earlier. The manager, Rob Thompson. Bill is not a huge fan.
I'm trying to forget about it.
I kind of remember Bill saying a couple of years ago, Phillies will never win a World Series with Rob Thompson as manager.
Bill ain't lying.
What is your take on Thompson, and did they make the right move bringing him back, Matt?
I think that they did make the right move by bringing Rob Thompson back for the 2026 season. I wouldn't necessarily commit to him any further than that. He is on the last year of his contract, so it'll be interesting to see if they do extend him or if he will be a lame duck manager heading into the season. They won 96 games this year. They've gotten better every regular season under Thompson, which I think is more of an indication of his influence on the clubhouse than just the playoffs, because I know that they've regressed every year in the playoffs under him.
Yeah.
But he wins a lot of games. The guys love playing for him. And I know on the outside, a lot of people want him to be more emotional, be a little bit more Larry Boa-esque, where he gets in players' faces and calls them out. But that's just not who he is. And I don't think that style of managing really plays in professional sports these days. I know it's disappointing that they got eliminated in the first round. And I do think that Rob Thompson could have managed a little bit better in this postseason. But at the end of the day, I think if his top three hitters had done anything in this series, they're probably playing the Milwaukee Brewers right now, because his pitching did a good job and his bullpen wasn't great, but it was good enough, in my opinion, if the offense was producing. So I think Thompson gets one more year to try and get it done. And if he doesn't get it done in 2026, I think he would retire before they quote unquote got rid of him. But I do think that he has one more year, and if they start off slow, you could potentially see him get moved. The Phillies move off of him early. But I think Thompson's the right guy for next season, and we'll see how it goes.
All right.
We will just have to disagree. They got better. I agree they got better record because the Sanchez got better and Luzardo got better and became stud pitchers. So, if you look at the eight regulars, I'm not sure how much better they got. Anyway,
one final question. Give him one final question. Go ahead.
Which one?
Anyone at all.
Oh, I was just going to ask him to let everyone know where they can follow him and his Phillies coverage.
I appreciate that. Yeah. So all of my content can be seen at Metro Philadelphia and Philly Sports Network. You can follow me at all of my handles on all social media at Matt Watson Media. And I can tease a little bit that Metro Philadelphia and Philly Sports Network have something new coming out in the next couple of days. So stay tuned for that. I think it's a massive upgrade to our coverage. We do cover all of the big five sports teams in the city. So yeah, you can find me at Matt Watson Media on all platforms and Metro Philly Sports Network.
I know you do a Sunday Eagles related or football related podcast. Is that right? Sure. What do you got Sunday? Eagles, Vikings. Who you got?
I think the Eagles bounce back this week against Minnesota. I don't know who's going to be playing quarterback for the Vikings, whether it's McCarthy or Wentz. Either way, I think the Eagles are still a much better team. I know they've had their struggles, but I just think overall, Minnesota, I don't think Minnesota is a very good team. They have a great defense, but offensively, I just don't know who's going to play quarterback for them, and their options aren't great. I expect it to be a low-scoring game, but I do think the Eagles prevail and get back on a winning track.
Awesome.
I'm with you. Well, Matt, thanks for taking the time to join us. Let's do it again. I don't know what took us 11 and a half years.
Well, 11 and a half years ago, I was probably in middle school. So I appreciate
exactly.
that.
I was going to say, we're old, Bill. He's young.
Oh, well, I don't know what we did for the last 5 years. How's that?
Right. Thanks, Matt.
Matt,
Thanks,
we
guys.
appreciate you, bud.
Talk to you soon.
Hey.
Hey, Bill, before we move on, I want to say something here. We got a little note here. Chuck and Michelle. That means nothing to you. I met these people in Ireland. They were on the Go Ahead Tours trip of Ireland with my wife, Linda, and me. And as it turns out, Chuck, who now lives in West Virginia, about a half hour, 40 minutes south of Pittsburgh, grew up in Ewing, New Jersey, like 10 minutes from where I live now. So he knows all my old haunts. He had been to many of them himself back in the 90s, I guess. And great people, Chuck and Michelle. So thanks for checking out the show. Michelle actually got up in the middle of the night on Thursday, and watched our podcast just to see if I was, I guess, telling the truth about doing this sports podcast. So how about that?
Well, thanks, Chuck and Michelle. We appreciate you joining us. Hey, did you see I actually tagged you on a post? A girl that I graduated from high school with was at that castle the same day you were.
I did not see that.
She posted pictures the next day, and I made a comment to her. I said, Chet, my partner, was there the same day.
How about that? It's a small world, Bill. We had a great time. As I told you a little bit last week, from Ireland. It was a great trip. Went all over Ireland, from Dublin to Galway with Cork in the middle and a few stops along the way. So pretty much circled the whole entire, I guess, island nation.
Nice. Very cool.
Yep.
We'll hear more about that when we don't have so much great Philly sports talk going on.
A lot going on, Bill.
Hey, but tell me, what could be better than the Eagles tailgating with the best tailgaters in Philadelphia, Bob Cavanaugh and the gang of Cavs Philly tailgates?
Well, Bill, Cavs Philly Tailgates has been cooking up terrific catering business now for some 35 years. You know Cav best for his tailgate parties, a 3-time winner of Philly Tailgate's Jack Daniels Great American Tailgate Party Contest, and a past winner of the Philly Daily News Tailgate Award. Cavs also does corporate events, parties, you name it. Of course, Cav hosts tailgates before all Eagles games outside the link. And what do they have coming up? Well, I'm glad you asked. They will have another tailgate party before the Birds' October 26th game. That's this Sunday. No, isn't it? A week from Sunday. Yeah, a week from Sunday against the Giants. Denny and I will be at that game, by the way, as well as before November games against the Lions and Bears. You can get all the details on all events at Cavs' website, phillytailgates.com. And if you have questions, you email them. Cav will get back to you. Cavs Catering at Verizon.net. Cavs Philly Tailgates is the way to go.
Yes, it is. Hey, Chet, great guest tonight at Phil Stiefel and Matt Watson. Who's coming to Philly Pressbox Radio next week?
Well, Bill, next week, we got a good one for you. I think I got a promo pick.
Another good one.
Oh, my good. Every week is a good one, Bill. You know that. 2 terrific guests once again. I know you've been kind of dreading this, Bill, but we have to do our 76ers season preview. Whether you want it or not, we're going to do it. And we're going to be joined by this guy, Keith Pompey. I mean, of course, he is the Sixers beat writer, but he is also a New York Giants football fan. So, he is going to be crowing about that Giants win over the Eagles last Thursday. And we'll talk about the fact that the Eagles and Giants will play again next Sunday. So, I know
the other thing about Keith is he is a Pitt Panther.
Ah, yes.
So he will be talking crap about Penn State because Keith can talk some smack now.
Oh, he can, yeah.
and he owes me because I've been beating him up pretty good. The only thing I can hold on to right now is Daniel Jones.
Guest number 2, Bill, is a successful Hollywood actor. Really. He's a native of Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, but he's been in shows like Lost, the original Matlock, and movies including The Fugitive, Terrifier 3, St. Nick of Bethlehem, and he's got a new one coming out about football and faith called The Hail Mary. Actor Daniel Roebuck on our show next week. Good stuff, I promise you.
Wow. All right. Yeah. Okay, well, hey, it's time to make our weekly picks. Whoa, wow. Not a very good week for us. How did Boop, Bobatron Jr., you and I do in week 6? I think it was ugly.
Lousy. It was ugly, Bill. There it is. 1-4 for me. 1-4 for Boop. You shone most brightly, I guess. 2-3. So you and Boop are now tied for the top of the standings.
That was only because I took the Bears to beat Washington.
Yeah, how about that? I'm 14-11 now, so it's a tight race. At least we got that going. But yeah, we've sucked the last 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah, well, so is the NFL. What can we say? Hey, just to clarify how we make our picks this year, we're picking the winners of 5 games every week. No point spreads. Always the NFC East games, always the Sunday night football game, and then we throw in additional games as needed to get to the 5 games. So here we go. This week we got Dallas at Washington. The Commanders -1.5. Who's Boop got?
All right. I have not looked at these yet. It's on my phone. Boop says, one of these weeks, Washington is going to wear a uniform that won't make me want to cover my eyes when I watch the game. I don't know where that came from, but his pick is the Commanders. So is mine. Dallas goes down.
I'm going to take Dallas.
Whoa.
They're not very good, but
No.
Washington, I said from the start of the season, I'm just not all over Washington. So I'm going Commanders. Giants at Denver, Broncos -6.5. Interesting.
Giants playing well lately.
Yeah.
So Boop says the battle of the only 2 teams that will have beaten the Eagles by season's end. Okay, Boop, we'll go with that. Boop's pick is the Denver Broncos, and yeah, so is mine, the Denver Broncos.
Me too. Atlanta at San Francisco, Sunday night football, 49ers -2.5. Atlanta with a big win last week.
Huge. Let's see what Boop says about that one. Hard to believe there are football fans now who weren't around when Atlanta and San Francisco were in the same geographical division. Yeah, I remember that because we're old. Boop's pick is the Falcons. I'm also picking the Falcons, even though they are slight underdogs.
I'm taking the 49ers at home.
Ooh, okay.
All right. Tampa Bay at Detroit, Monday Night Football. Lions, a surprising -5.5 in this
I'm surprised
game.
that line is that big. I got to be honest, because Tampa Bay is 5-1. Baker Mayfield playing like an MVP candidate. Whew. Boop says, if any more Detroit defensive backs get hurt, Chet and I are suiting up. I don't know about that. Boop's pick is the Detroit Lions. So is mine. Tampa's going to go down on the road.
Tampa is not going down anywhere.
Whoa.
They're going to continue on and beat the Detroit Lions.
Wow. 3 different picks you've made so far. That is impressive.
Well, it's because I've decided that now that I'm back tied for first place, it's time to get the motor running. All right. Eagles at the Vikings. Eagles -1.5 in this game. I was actually a little surprised Eagles were favored in this game on the road.
It sounds about right. Yeah, I thought it might be a pick 'em, though. You're right. Boop says, it seems like Minnesota hasn't played a game on U.S. soil since Fran Tarkenton was running for his life out of the backfield. Whoa. Boop's pick is the Eagles. Folks, here's the deal. I'm going to do you all a favor because I have this feeling about this game that whoever I pick, I'm going to be wrong. So I am picking the Minnesota Vikings, and I think they may well win. I don't know if it's going to be Carson Wentz or McCarthy playing quarterback. I know Nick Sirianni, I think, is 8-0, including playoff games against the NFC North. But I'm just not feeling great about this Eagles team right now. I think they're going to need another week to figure it out. I am taking Minnesota to win. I hope I'm wrong.
And you are. The Eagles will win this game. They're going to right the ship, and it doesn't matter who plays quarterback for the Vikings. They got a better chance to win with Wentz than they do with McCarthy anyway. He's no good.
Okay.
All right. Next up, our margin victory pool. How are the standings after week 6? Hopefully better than we did with our picks.
Not a great week there either. Boop lost for the 2nd straight week. He took the Eagles. He said they were going to rout the Giants. That didn't work out so well. Bill, you took Indianapolis. They hung on for a 4-point victory. So you were 5-1, but you only got 4 points. I'm 6-0. I'm still in 2nd place, but hey, I'm 6-0. I took Green Bay. They won by 9. So I inched a little closer to Boop, who still sits in the top spot. And this week, I'm going to try to move a little closer because Boop is taking Kansas City. I don't know who they're playing, but he is taking Kansas City. Raiders. Yeah, that should be a win. I am taking Chicago. You took them last week, didn't you? Or at least you took them to win.
I took them to win.
Yeah, I'm taking Chicago this week to beat New Orleans. So The Bears go.
All right. Well, I actually took the Kansas City Chiefs myself. Which
okay.
I don't like that. I can't gain any ground on the Boopster, but
can't change it now, Bill. You got the Chiefs.
There's my pick right there, KC.
All right. We covered pretty much everything, Bill, except we didn't really talk Flyers. The Flyers, of course, lost a game in overtime, won impressively Monday night. And what a great night honoring the late, great Bernie Perrant, also Monday night. That was really nice to see.
Absolutely. And for those that didn't watch, game 2 in Carolina, the Flyers actually won that game in overtime, and the goal was taken off the board. So, and then they ended up losing. So they did pick up 1 point. Should have had 2 there. Rick Tockett's got to playing well, playing high energy, and Samuel Ersson is not the guy, at least at this point
how about that?
In the season. So we'll see how that goes. Anything else
up,
before
Bill.
we wrap it?
I got nothing.
We're a minute
late.
over already anyway. Let's wrap this thing up.
I'm cooking a pizza right now, so I got to go eat my dinner.
You better go get it before it burns. Let's thank tonight's special guests, Phil Stiefel and Matt Watson, our sponsors, the Irish Rover Station House, Cavs Philly Tailgates, PPCC 118 Raz Room. For Jim Chet Chesko, this is Bill Furman. We hope you enjoyed the show, and we'll join Philly Press Box Radio next Wednesday, October 22nd, 7 p.m. You can see us live on Facebook, on our Philly Press Box Radio YouTube channel, and on the STT Sports Network YouTube channel, and listen on Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and all the others. High hopes, Philadelphia sports fans. Go Birds, and let's go Flyers.
And drink more pumpkin beer, everybody, please.
Let's do the song. Come on. Come on. Here we go. Here we go. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Fly, Eagles, fly. On the road to victory.